Okay, so you already know what this is about, hopefully. So let's just get started. So here I have with me a piece of paper, a ruler, and a pencil. And we're just gonna start out by measuring out our reference image and transferring those measurements onto our paper.
So what I mean by that is this way, it looks like it's about 10 inches. Yeah, 10 inches. So I'm going to draw a line going 10 this way. And then over here, we have it at like, whatever that says, 8.5. So 8.5. I don't like math. Okay, 8.5 inches this way, and then 10 inches this way.
This is an optional step, but now I'm just cutting out my piece of paper to fit those measurements. You can just leave it like that and move on to the drawing. Okay, so now let's take a look back at our reference image. I see this little line here that's dividing the end of the crown with the upper side of the crown. And I just want to say, disclaimer, this is just my process. I just kind of eyeball things. If this doesn't work out for you, by all means, try out different methods. I'll link some videos for the grid method. There's some other methods as well that you could use. This is just the way that I prefer it, so try it out, see if you like it. Okay, so the next step is you just want to get down all your basic shapes, right? So for the base of the crown, I see kind of like this upside down trapezoid, or you can even draw a square or rectangle if you'd like. So I'm just drawing that in. And then on the top here, I see a little triangle. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw that. And then at the very tippy top, there seems to be these 3 circles that encompass the triangle's upper half. That sounds so weird. Anyways, so you're gonna just draw that. Again, all of this is going to look very hideous. And what you wanna do now is you wanna take a step back. And you want to see, okay, is everything aligned properly? Is it centered? And mine wasn't centered, so I actually had to erase and redo it. But just check if everything falls where it needs to be. These are just general guidelines, so more or less we're just checking to see if things fall into where they need to be, Okay, so now let's actually make this look not like a kindergartner drew it. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start out by erasing the corner and curving it in. So as we can see, the crown has this curve that goes in. It's very slight, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here as well. Now I'm just going to repeat that hook shape for the rest of the little curves we see on the crown. Also, I'm really sorry about this. My left hand got tired, so then I started drawing with my right hand, but then I forgot that you can't see what I'm doing. So that's completely on me. But anyways, for the front curve of the crown, what you want to do is you want to draw these 2 lines that are going out, just like this. And then we're gonna go back to drawing our hook shapes, but this time they're gonna be facing the other direction. Now I'm going to erase that little corner from the guideline that we drew earlier, and I'm just going to draw in that like tiny curve that you see of the crown. And now I'm just going to go in and adjust things to make sure they're proportional and that both sides look relatively similar. And for some reason, I just went ahead and drew the 2 gems that I saw on the left hand side. Again, this you don't have to do this at this stage, but if you want to, I mean, sure. Now we're going to draw in the wrinkles of the fabric. So I'm starting with that top part right there, and we see that it's kind of folded in. So I'm just going to draw a line going inwards. Honestly, my explanation is so bad. I think you'll get more out of just watching me and seeing what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm going to focus my attention on that little triangle piece at the top, and I am so sorry, but I have no better explanation than just follow me. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that triangle more narrow, and at the bottom we see a circle. So I'm just going to draw that circle in, and I'm not going to solidify any of the shapes around it because the shapes around it seem to be more circular, so I'm just gonna draw that in, if that makes sense. Again, just watch what I'm doing. I'm so sorry for the terrible advice. And as for the top here, I actually pretty much completely erased the circles that I drew because turns out they weren't much of a help for me personally, but you could definitely use the circle guidelines, but for me, I didn't use them, and instead I drew this tiny little oval on top of the triangle, and then there seems to be these diamond shaped, pentagon shaped, I guess, because there are 5 sides, remember your shapes. Anyways, there are those little shapes up there, and they kind of look like bugs to me. So essentially it'll be a pentagon with 2 little wings coming out of it. Okay, now let's draw in that bottom portion of the crown. This looks a little bit tricky, but honestly, as long as you have your guidelines in place, you'll be just fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with the base, which will be these elongated rectangular shapes, I guess. So just kind of follow me, we're gonna do that top part of it more wider, so I guess it's kind of like an upside down triangle rectangle thing. I'm not that good with my shapes, but that's what it is. And now I'm just rounding out that center top portion. I know it's a little bit frightening to do this, but we're just trying to get like the feel for detail rather than actually including every single element of the crown in itself. What I mean by that is basically we're just giving the idea or the illusion of detail rather than actually having all of those lines in there. So we're just going to draw some circles and some of these things sprouting from it, I guess. And then I'm going to go in and also draw this little elongated triangle along both of those sides right there. Okay, now I'm just going to repeat what we did for that centerpiece over to all the other pieces. So I'm going to start with that right side one. And again, don't be intimidated by this. What we're going to do is still the same thing. We're going to draw that gem in the center. But remember, this time the perspective will be like that gem is sideways basically. And so we're going to have to draw more stones around it rather than these like swivelly shapes. Okay, so if you've been following along up to this point, you may notice that this right-hand side is supposed to be angled. And the way we're going to achieve that is through this one little trick, I guess, and that is this little leaf. So we're just going to draw it in with this corner poking out like that. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the rest of them. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did on the right side, but this time we're going to do it to the left side. So same thing, we're going to draw in the gem. This time we're going to have a more rounded edge on the outer left-hand side. I know it sounds confusing when I say it out loud, but I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that you got it. Okay, and now I'm just going to move on to the other sides that I haven't touched yet, and I have zoomed you in here so you get all nice and close with the drawing, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm going to go and draw the gems for that spiral of the crown. What are the crown parts even called? I have no idea. But basically, we're just going to be drawing little unfinished squares slash like these curved shapes, I guess, but you want to make sure that they have an angle to them and they're not just round. But for this front piece right here, actually, you want to ignore everything that I just said and you want to make all those gems really round. And I'm also drawing in that shine for later on when I go to color it. And now I'm just adding in the details with those end or bottom pieces right there. So I'm just drawing some circles to signify gems. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and draw the gems on the other side as well. Again, it's this exact same process. We're just doing it on the other side, so nothing too bad. And oh yeah, let me go ahead and finish up those little details on the bottom of the crown there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and draw those two little lines that you see on the rim of the crown, and I'm going to go ahead and fill that area with gems. Honestly, this was the most intimidating part for me because half the detail in that section didn't make any sense to me. But Anyways, we'll pull through. As you can see, I already started drawing in the side gems, and then I'm going to move on to the center one actually, which is probably what I should have started with. So we're just going to draw a good size circle, you know, that looks about right. And then we're going to go in and fill in the other gems as well by drawing circles for them. And for these tilted gems here, all I'm doing is I'm drawing a sideways triangle with a tilted bottom. So basically it's going to be like a curved triangle. Okay, now that we have our general shapes and like some sort of general detail down, I'm going to go in and add in more detail. So especially to the top, I pretty much neglected it, so now I have to go back in and I'm just adding some more circles, and I see this little, it looks like a tongue to be honest, but anyways, I'm gonna add that in, and then I'm going to go to the bottom, and as you can see, I put in these little triangular pieces that separate the rim from the gems. So I just drew those in, and I'm drawing in some more detail as well, which basically just means that I'm making up stuff here, because although I am referring back to the original image, I'm kind of just using it as more of an inspiration rather than a direct copy. So yeah, kind of just make up whatever you feel like, and hopefully it should turn out looking fairly decent. Okay, now I'm just going to add some shading in those areas that look completely blocked out by blocks of black and purple, and so I'm just going to add that in with my pencil. And now I'm just going in and intensifying those shadows even more, and I'm going to move on to the bottom shadow. And essentially what you want to do here is you just want to create a big long oval hole, I guess, where the crown sits, and then you should be pretty much done. I'm going to move on to coloring it, which I've just sped up for the sake of the length of this video. And if you made it this far, I'm so sorry. What are you even doing here? But thank you. I have a very deep appreciation if you made it this far. The coloring video will be out next week, hopefully, and so because this is my first video, I'm sorry it's not as informative as perhaps it could be. I will work on making it better. But thank you for watching. Bye!